Hi everyone, this is Deepak Ramola, and today I will be sharing with you Jack of all trades and master of none. Growing up, were you also the kind of kid who, when asked, what do you want to be when you grow up, couldn't really say one thing? You wanted to be a pilot, a cabin crew, an artist, a scientist, a astronaut, a writer, and all of that. I was that kid. Every school inspection, when somebody would come and visit and ask us the $1,000,000 question, where do you see yourself in 5-10 years? My answer would change every single year. I went from being a fashion designer in my head to being an author, to being a poet, to being a musician, to being a director, to being an educator. And everybody tried to convince me that I was nuts because I was trying to do too many things. I was always in the debating society of my school, and I was participating in poster making competitions and being part of the school assembly and then taking part in the theatre competition for the annual festival. I was, according to people, all over the place. But looking back, I must tell you, I never felt so. It was only when other people told me I am scattered did that word occur to me. Because within me, even as a young child, what doing many things felt like was experimenting, was exploring, was discovering things about myself and the world in relation to myself. If you have been called what is popularly known as Jack of all trades, then you must listen today and watch this video. You would be surprised to know that Jack of all trades and master of none is actually not the full saying. The entire phrase originally was Jack of all trades, master of none, but oftentimes better than being a master of one. Did you know that? When I discovered that for myself, my mind was blown, and an entire world of acceptance and applause greeted me. I thought to myself, why didn't they teach us growing up the entire length and the original meaning of this phrase? Because it was meant to be a compliment, not the insult it has become today. You see anybody being versatile or adept to many different situations, and you just label them as Jack of all trades without knowing that that person is actually capable of delving into many different things and weaving it all together. Being a Jack of all trades simply also means somebody who's willing to risk it all to start it all over again. Someone who's exploring, who's engaging and investigating and observing in knowing what works for them. A person who is constantly switching tracks, lacing up the layers of their lives and diving deep into them is not a person who's lost, which many people think if you're doing too many things, you're lost. It's not really every single time about that. When I was growing up and a teenager, I loved to write poetry, and I wanted to use that poetry to write songs and lace it up with melody, merge the two and create something newer. Years later, when I became an educator, I realized how significantly important it was for me to know music. Because when I was teaching in conflict zones, life lessons, human wisdom, very heavy topics about mental health and well-being, I never entered my class and said, I'm here to teach you human wisdom or life lessons today. I rather entered by saying, I know a song in your language. Can I teach you that song? And my children would be in Nepal or in a refugee camp in Europe would say, which song? And I would learn a song because I have a passion for music and I write songs for films. I would learn a song in their local language and recite that. So when I was teaching post the Nepal earthquake, I would enter a classroom of children who had lost home, parents, family, friends to the earthquake, devastated with grief. I would enter by saying, let me sing you a song. And the song would be, Vari Jamuna, Jamuna ko bhedai ma mano kamna. Kasko chora, kasko chori, and it goes on. And the children would be so amused and they'd be like, that's not the melody, you're singing it wrong, you're singing it off key, those are not the lyrics, that's not the pronunciation, but come, we'll help you. And that sort of warm accessibility opened doors and conversations. And I always thought to myself what an advantage it was as an educator, as a teacher, to know music, to have an affiliation for language. When I am creating my art, when I'm painting, a lot of times when I work with people who have special needs or people who have no context of the art world, they want to know, what did you paint and what does it mean? And that's where my poetry skills or my teaching skills help me, because I'm able to explain better. I have the patience that an educator has in a classroom teaching very young children, because I've taught so many over the years. And luckily, because of my poetry and my writing and my books, I'm able to borrow the tool of language and communicate, express myself. Even when I'm really pissed off with people, I can find the right words to tell you how pissed off I am and to what degree. And some of my closest friends can understand with my degree of language and my use of metaphors how hurt I am. Knowing many things in life acts as a harness to let you jump from a cliff more often than not and find a parachute because you built it all along. And the other thing to remember about doing many different things is that the trick and the praise is not in doing a lot, it is in balancing a lot. If you are somebody who is constantly encouraged, motivated, inspired by doing many different things, I would encourage you to not romanticize the idea that you are so talented and you have such a diverse skill set, but try to ask yourself, how can I take what I know in section A and weave that into section B and merge that into section C and create one collective story. If people see you as these 7 different human beings, that's where the difficult part for you will be. But how in your one identity, your one personality, can you bring all these different colors? How can you be one breakfast buffet for many different aspirations that you hold within yourself and many different dreams you dream about your life and the lives of those you care about? Balancing is the key. And balance comes from knowing your own creativity, but also knowing how much you can lean in and how much you can lean back when a priority is different. When I'm writing songs for movies, I put my songwriter hat on and I try to put my teacher work a little in the second category of priority. I try to match my writing or teaching deadlines when I'm not writing songs on airplanes between flights. So in balancing and trying to create a schedule for each of these different creative mouths to feed with your ideas, with your imagination, is the beautiful choreography that you can create for yourself. A lot of people ask me, how do you find that balance? You find that balance over time. And that's where the other important trick comes. Be patient with yourself because the world is going to be highly impatient with you. When we try to decipher what's the next best thing we can do, we need to give it the time it will require for us to master that thing before it can transition from I would like to know more about it to becoming a hobby, to becoming a profession and becoming a paying gig. In all of those stages, you will have to exercise your patience muscle. You cannot rush into things. The second point about building that balance is research, observe, make yourself your own case study and try to see what have you done previously, whether you were an engineer, whether you were a doctor, whether you were a musician, in your existing skill set or the one that you have mastered. How did you cope or create a structure of work? How much time did it take you? What were your challenges? Were you able to meet deadlines? Did you lack an approach to your work? Were you always overwhelmed? Treat yourself as a case study and take everything you have done as your research material. When you will find and delve deeper into it, you will notice patterns that will inform you on how you can do the next best thing without committing the same mistakes that you did the last time. Those are some of the ways in which balance becomes an integral part of cultivating a diverse personality. The other noticeable thing that happened to me in school was when people used to call me Jack of all trades. In the beginning, it was a little shaking me from within. I didn't like it. But very soon, I accepted that if I was okay being Jack, no matter what people said, will not offend me. And so, since I had that epiphany, I accepted I am Jack. When they say Jack of all trades, I am Jack and I'm comfortable being Jack and I have no problems, no qualms whatsoever. And whenever somebody would point it out, I would say to them, I already know that. Actually, I'm aspiring to be Jack, so don't worry, I don't want to be a master of something. Least realizing that when you are a committed Jack, when you are a sincere, versatile, diverse talent or skill set or a personality, you will become a master of many different things. My songs have come in Bollywood films, in Hindi industry, my books have published, I am teaching across the world, and I don't want to be embarrassed about it because each of those things come together to form who I am and give me an identity that is very rare and precious and very personal to me. You can create that identity for yourself by accepting that you want to be Jack, and there is no shame related to it. It's just that you're figuring out how does this Jack appear to be not scattered but consolidated, a well-woven story. I often say we all are patchworks, and that's what makes us beautiful. So don't deny your patchworkness just because people think they are capable of doing only one thing, and so should you be. In fact, there is a word for people like us, and the word is multipotentialite. People who have this huge collage of potential within them that cannot be restricted to just one field of study, one field of work, one field of thinking. We are an amalgamation, a collage of different identities. And when we become comfortable showing them, working with them, that is when we begin celebrating ourselves in the true light. We are not lost. We are just constantly exploring. We are full of curiosity. And as the great African-American author Maya Angelou, one of my favorites, once said, the hardest job you're going to do in life is to die. That's an adventure you've already signed up for. Each one of us, no matter whether we like it or not, no matter how much money we have, how much power we hold, we all are going to die. If you've already signed up for that unknown adventure, can anything that falls under it be as scary? Can writing a play, performing in front of 5,000 people, composing a piece of music, directing a movie, writing your own book, making your own YouTube channel and creating recipes, can that be as scary and as lesser known? Not at all. So whenever you are asking yourself, should I do this? Think to yourself, one day I'm no longer going to be here, and I don't get to choose how I am going to leave. But as long as I stay, I have the power to decide in how many ways, in how many works, in how many job roles, in how many positions I get to construct the life and its adventures. So I hope all of you who are watching, you at least take some conscious time to find out, are you a jack of all trades? If yes, become comfortable with it. If you aren't and want to be, then go and venture into many different things. And if you don't want to be, that's also fine. We also need a balance of the masters. But don't hate upon us, the jack of all trades, because we are singing our own songs. I hope you enjoyed this particular video, and if you did, remember to subscribe. I'm trying to bring you some fascinating new insights from my work, my life, and my experience. Make sure you comment with more questions that you have about this topic or any other topic you would like me to speak, and remember to subscribe. Thanks for watching.